All right, part B, using polynomial long division to check factors. So the key information is if there is no remainder after dividing, then the divisor is a factor of the polynomial dividend. Okay, that also means that your quotient is a factor. The quotient is also a factor. And that's why in the beginning we said P of X, if it's a factor, equals your quotient times your divisor. So we're going to put this to the test. So here it says to use long division to determine if the polynomial 3x to the fourth minus 4x third plus 12x squared plus 5 has the factor of x squared plus 1. So we're going to still do the same thing. We're just using long division. So we're going to set it up. So that's x squared plus 0x plus 1 divided by 3x to the fourth minus 4x to the third plus 12x squared plus 0x plus 5. Again, notice how I put my fillers in for my missing terms. And we're going to start our process. First step is to divide. So we have 3x to the fourth divided by x squared. So 3x to the fourth divided by x squared equals 3x squared. Then next we're going to multiply. So we have 3x squared times x squared plus 0x plus 1. That gives me 3x to the fourth plus 0x to the third plus 3x squared. Step 4 is to subtract. So we're going to subtract, which means we got to change the sign of everything. That leaves us with negative 4x to the third plus 9x squared and then we're going to bring down because the degree of our remainder is still greater than the degree of our divisor. So we're going to bring down 0x and repeat the process. So we're going to start with dividing. So we have negative 4x cubed divided by x squared. Negative 4x cubed divided by x squared equals negative 4x. Then we're going to multiply. So we have negative 4x times x squared plus 0x plus 1. That gives us negative 4x cubed plus 0x squared minus 4x. And then we're going to subtract. Subtracting means we change the signs. And that leaves us with 9x squared plus 4x. And we're going to bring down plus 5. And we check again, because after we bring down, the degree of our quotient is still not less than the degree of our divisor. So we divide again. So we have 9x squared divided by x squared. We have 9x squared divided by x squared equals 9. And then we're going to multiply after we divide. So 9 times x squared plus 0x plus 1 gives us 9x squared plus 0x plus 9. And now we're going to subtract, change sign. And that leaves us with 4x minus 4 as our remainder. Is our remainder 0? No. So our remainder isn't 0. So where it says, is x squared plus 1 a factor of p of x? The answer is no, it is not a factor. And that's because our remainder does not equal 0. So we have our quotient and our remainder. All right, example 2. Now it wants to know what about x squared minus 1 and p of x equals x to the 4th plus 4x squared minus 5. Is it a factor of it? So step 1, we set it up. And again, with these, sometimes you do not have to put in the fillers, but until you are able to recognize those patterns, I encourage you to put in the fillers. Your placeholders are in. And then we begin. So step 2 is to divide. So x to the 4th divided by x squared is x squared. Agreed? Step 3. We're going to multiply. So x squared times x squared is x to the 4th. X squared times 0x is 0x to the 3rd. X squared times negative 1 is negative x squared. Then we're going to subtract. And we're left with 5x squared. Because it's still not less than the degree of the divisor, we're going to bring down. And then we're going to repeat.
Teachers, please pardon this.
All right, so we're going to repeat the process. So we have 5x squared divided by x squared. That is 5. Division done. We're going to multiply 5x squared times 5x squared. 5 times x squared is 5x squared. 5 times 0 is 0x. 5 times 1 is negative 5. Multiplication done. Then we're going to subtract. Subtraction again means we're changing the signs and combining the terms. And we do not bring down because there's nothing left to bring down. But what do we notice we have here? 0 is our remainder. Yay. And because 0 is our remainder, that means that x squared minus 1 is a factor. Yay. Okay, and so when we write that, that means that p of x equals x to the 4th plus 4x squared minus 5 equals x squared minus 1 times x squared plus 5. And that's what it means to write as a product of two factors. Okay, so we saw a non-factor and we saw a factor. Cool? It's a factor again when the remainder is 0. All right, our last piece. So this is true if you're dealing with a linear factor. So linear factor means your degree is 1. If f of a equals 0, then x minus a is a factor of f of x. This is our factor theorem. So the steps to solve here is you set the factor equal to 0 and to solve for x. Then we're going to do our factor theorem check. We take the value of x and substitute into the polynomial. If the answer is 0, then yes, it's a factor. And then we can use long division to find the quotient / remaining factors. So here we have, is x minus 2 a factor of p of x equals x to the 4th minus 16? If it is, write p of x as a product of two factors. So x minus 2 is a linear factor. My degree is 1. So step 1 tells me I'm going to set the factor equal to 0. So x minus 2 equals 0. X minus 2 equals 0, so X equals 2. Agreed? Step 3 tells me to take that value and plug it into the polynomial. So we're looking at P of 2. So that gives me 2 to the 4 minus 16. Well, 2 to the 4th is 16. 16 minus 16 is 0. So I got a 0. So I know that X minus 2 is a factor. Okay. Step 3 is where I do the division to find the remaining factors. So I'm going to actually go through. So I have X minus 2 divided by X to the 4th plus 0x to the 3rd plus 0x squared plus 0x minus 16. I was missing all 3 of those terms. So we're going to go through the actual process. So we have x4 divided by x. So remember, we are dividing, multiplying, subtract, bring down, repeat. X to the 4th divided by x is x to the 3rd. X to the 3rd times x is x to the 4th. X to the 3rd times negative 2 is negative 2x to the 3rd. Now I'm going to subtract, changing my signs, and combine. 0x cubed plus 2x cubed is 2x cubed. And now I'm going to bring down and repeat. When you bring down, you only need to bring down enough terms to match the number of terms in your divisor. So I have 2x cubed divided by x. 2x cubed divided by x is 2x squared. 2x squared times x is going to be 2x cubed. 2x squared times negative 2 is negative 4x squared. So I'm going to subtract, change my signs. I get 4x squared. Then I'm going to bring down. I have 4x squared divided by x. That gives me 4x. I'm going to multiply. 4x times x is 4x squared. 4x times negative 2 is negative 8x. I'm going to subtract, change signs, gives me 8x. And then I'm going to bring down. Minus 16. Still not less than, so I'm going to continue my little journey. So 8x divided by x is 8. 8 times x minus 2 is 8x minus 16. Subtract, changing my signs. And I get 0. So that's just validating that I already knew it's a factor. So now it says write P of x as a product of 2 factors. So P of x written as a product of 2 factors is P of x equals x minus 2 times x to the 3rd plus 2x squared plus 4x plus 8. Now, if it asks me to fully factor, I can continue to factor this by using grouping. And if I chose to do that, then I would finish and factor this fully using grouping. And so with grouping, I would end up with x squared times x plus 2 plus 4 times x plus 2. And then I would end up with x plus 2 times x squared plus 4. And then bring down my other one. So this would be P of x fully factored. But it just said as 2 factors, so I didn't have to go all the way down to this. And there we go. We're done.